Hey guys, Foxdrop here with a champion guide for the newly reworked Sion in the jungle. The new Sion is a beefy, remorseless killing machine with the potential for having higher damage, good initiation, also being very tanky thanks to the shield on his W and also his stacking health abilities, and is also very disruptive in teamfights as well. For runes, I like to take AD reds, armor or stacking health yellows, 3 magic resist blues and 6 cooldown reduction blues. This gives you 5% cooldown reduction from your runes, and also AD quints. For masteries, I like to go 21-9-0, just getting quite offensive bruiser-esque mastery points. You can also go 9-21-0 if that's what you prefer, but the pages that I'm showing now are pretty good choices. For skill order, I like to max my Q first because that is Sion's biggest damaging ability. Second, I like to get my W because not only is that very good defensively because of the shield, but also you can explode it, making it quite a good offensive ability as well. And finally, to round everything off, I max my E last. For your item build on Sion, you can be like a confused college freshman and swing both ways. You can either go full damage builds or you can go full tank builds, or of course, you can be somewhere in between. For your core items, I recommend that you go Elder Lizard into Brutalizer into Tanky. This gives you a lot of damage early and it doesn't cover any defensive stats. However, I feel that you don't really need to be doing that until later on into the game because the shield from your W and the stacking health should have you covered. If you decide to go for a full glass cannon DPS build, then the items I would recommend would be stuff like Hydra, Yumu's, Bloodthirster, and even Infinity Edge. The 2 points that I want to make here is that you want to have high AD builds because of Sion's high AD scalings. You don't really want to waste time with getting attack speed and stuff like that. If, however, you like to go for a full tank build, then items I would recommend would be things like Randuins, Warmogs, Banshees, Sunfire, Guardian Angel, that kind of thing. The main theme here is that you want to have a lot of health because your W scales on health, meaning that the tankier you are, the bigger your shield becomes. So for strategies on Sion jungle, what you want to actually be doing when you're playing him, early game you'll clear the jungle exceptionally fast. You're also pretty good at level 3 ganking against champions who have low mobility, or say champions that don't have their summoner spells up. The reason why it's quite important they have low mobility is because the harder it is for them to get out of your queue, the harder it is for them to survive, and likewise, the easier it is for them to get out of it, the easier it is for them to survive. The mid game is going to be quite similar to how you play the early game, but don't forget to be farming the jungle a lot as well, because you get pretty strong the more items you have, so you never really want to fall behind in that item count, because if you do, chances are you're going to be relatively useless. In addition to this, you'll also want to be using your ultimate whenever possible to gank enemy lanes. Think of it in a similar way to how Rengar, Vi, Nocturne, all these champions with high impact ultimates, you want to be using your ulti whenever it's off cooldown. Specifically with Sion, lane ganking is extremely effective because you come from miles away and before the enemy knows it, you're on their face and you're beating the crap out of them. Late game is all about having good objective control and team fighting. Now, Sion is not really that good at playing the objective game. He doesn't bring anything to the table as far as taking down towers goes, and he's not very good at taking away Baron or anything like that either. What he can do, however, is to soak up loads of damage for your carries so that they can then take away the towers or they can then take away the Baron. As far as team fighting goes, you want to initiate them with your ulti, whether that's from far away or up close. There's a bit of a misconception with Sion's ulti in the fact that because it's got such a long range that it's not as good in close quarters, which really is not true. As I keep trying to tell my girlfriend, just because something has a long reach does not mean that it doesn't work in smaller spaces too. In those fights, you should try to soak up as much damage as possible and either go for the enemy carries or peel for your own. If you're going to be peeling for your own, then your E is pretty useful for slowing them down and shredding the armor of the enemy tanks. In my opinion though, Sion works best when you are charging down the back line, when you're going for those squishies. So try to do that, however, you are very, very vulnerable to being kited. And outside of team fighting, you can split push if you want to. Your Q pretty much one-shots huge minion waves by itself. And also your tower sieging ability is absolutely not really anything special, but it looks amazing because your tower sieging attack animation is absolutely godlike. So some tips when you're playing as Sion jungle: when you're clearing, it's important to not let your shield crumble and to expire by itself without detonating it, because blowing it up will significantly increase your clear speeds. And finally, when you're in a bush, the enemies cannot see your Q animation. So if you can set up a situation where the enemy team is face checking your unwarded bush, then that's going to end quite nicely for you and your team. So that does it for everything I want to say about Sion. I really enjoy playing him, and I think he's going to be a very good jungler. I've actually done another video on Sion talking about his overall strengths and weaknesses and my first impressions of him. So if you want to watch that, then click on the screen now, and also the link to that will be in the description too. I also had a day on stream where I did nothing but play Sion on the PBEs, so if you want to see some Sion gameplay, I'll link to that Twitch VOD in the description as well. But aside from that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to me for more educational league content with a bit of entertaining stuff on the side as well. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, you can catch me streaming on Twitch as well. All of those links are in the description, guys, but thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.